The remote and rugged region in the North Caucasus, in the Kabardino-Bulgaria Republic of the Russian Federation, is a place of towering mountains and untamed wilderness. Yet in 2011, Arthur Jamakov, who is a Russian speleologist, which is the scientific study and exploration of caves, made an astonishing discovery at the Khara-Hora mountain peak, one which would completely shatter our understanding of ancient human history. There he found a deep, narrow, vertical shaft, seemingly swallowed by the earth itself. It was made of parallel stone slabs that seemed perfectly geometrical, as if they were artificially made. Zimukov and his team decided to venture deeper, and what they discovered within the shaft was nothing short of extraordinary. The walls were straight and polished, extending 40 meters, or 130 feet deep into the mountain before opening into a wide underground hall with a height of 36 meters, about 118 feet. The straight walls of this shaft were constructed from large megalithic blocks that fitted together at right angles with minimal gaps. There were even large stones that looked like columns. Overall, the explored dimensions of the shaft from the upper part all the way to the lower platform span more than 100 meters, around 350 feet. Arthur Jamakov and his team were completely stunned. They concluded that whatever this prehistoric structure was, it was undoubtedly an artificial construction of an enormous scale. They found perfectly straight and polished narrow walls that go 40 meters deep into the mountain. Arthur Zemikov noted that the polished walls made of megalithic blocks were very similar to those found at the shafts of the Egyptian pyramids, precisely the Grand Gallery at the Pyramid of Khufu, the blocks of which are approximately the same size. And like the advanced ancient structures of Egypt, this ancient gallery also most likely served some kind of advanced technological function and was probably part of a larger structure. It took more than an hour for the expedition to even reach the bottom of the structure, which requires extensive climbing experience and endurance, and it's believed that there are additional chambers and channels that go much deeper underground, which are still undiscovered. Due to the colossal size of the underground shaft, only a small part of it is explored. The climbers advanced 100 meters deeper and they ran into narrow passages in which they couldn't enter. The team concluded that this structure, whatever it was indeed man-made, as there were no analogues anywhere among other cave systems in the world, especially caves possessing polished flat parallel walls, rectangular blocks with straight edges. The presence of what seemed like a solution between the perfect fittings of the blocks and the absence of oblique cracks characteristic of tuff. But how is this possible? How could gigantic 200-ton, perfectly flat stone blocks be assembled with such precision into such a narrow shaft deep underground? What kind of technology was used for the construction of the Khara-Hora Shaft? Additional expeditions inside the shaft were made by Vadim Chernobrov, head of the Kosmopoisk, which is an organization that researches different anomalies in Russia. Vadim and his team, together with Arthur Jamakov, climbed inside the shaft and filmed the experience for a documentary featured on Russian TV. Chernobrov even mapped the discovered parts of the shaft, carefully measuring the dimensions and scale of the site. Here is a photo of the map made by Chernobrov. As you can see, this does not look like any other known cave anywhere in the world. And here we can see a 3D demonstration of the shaft from the channel of Vladislavskoye, where the site is placed next to a Soviet space rocket. It certainly looks more like an artificial structure rather than a natural cave. Moreover, who knows how deep it actually goes and what else is hiding underground. But if this is an advanced prehistoric man-made construction, what was its purpose? There were various theories. According to Vadim Chernobrov, this was a man-made structure which was not intended for human habitation due to the narrow passages where even a child cannot squeeze through, together with the numerous tiny holes where a human hand can hardly fit. He noted that each such mini cavity goes far into the depths where even the lights from the flashlights do not reach the bottom. This led him to believe that this structure had a technological purpose. He noted that the mysterious cavities inside the Egyptian pyramids, which he visited numerous times, were also not intended for the movement of people and served some kind of technological purpose. Just like the Khara-Hora Shaft, the sophisticated shafts we find in Egypt also lead deep underground, and they often lead to chambers with unknown purposes. No one knows what they were used for, but they're clearly not meant to be traversed by humans, as there are no ladders, stairs, or any other method to climb inside them. There are no burn marks on the walls from torchlights, meaning there wasn't any visibility inside, and there aren't any hieroglyphs, artifacts, or anything else that can indicate human presence or a cultural and religious purpose. It seemed the intent of these systems was purely practical, yet unknown to us. Vadim Chernobrov could only speculate, saying it could have been some kind of plant, a part of an advanced ancient factory, or some kind of resonator. He said it could be a device for seismological research or even an ancient energy generator. Other researchers brought different theories, believing this was the underground part of a long-lost pyramid that once stood on the surface of the mountain, which is now long gone. Climbers who went inside believed the place served some sort of ventilation purpose, as they noted that there was a constant flow of air circulating and coming from beneath. Despite all the different theories, everyone who climbed inside the cave agreed that this structure, whatever it was certainly artificially created. But if this really was part of an advanced underground complex built by a prehistoric civilization, how is it possible that no one had ever heard anything about such civilization in the region? Well, the thing is, there were certain people who knew about the underground structure many decades before Arthur Zemikov actually discovered it. In fact, Arthur Zemikov didn't discover the shaft by pure luck or accident. He had been searching for it for many years. Zemikov was studying the documents and traces left by the Nazi Germans during World War II. Hitler, along with several other high-ranking Nazi officials, was deeply influenced by the occult. These beliefs were intertwined with the ideology of the Thule Society, an esoteric group that sought to explore and revive ancient Aryan traditions. Heinrich Himmler, head of the SS, was particularly obsessed with these ideas and established the Ahnenerbe, an institute dedicated to researching the ancestral heritage and occult practices of the Aryan race. The Ahnenerbe, officially known as the Research and Teaching Society for Ancestral Heritage, conducted numerous expeditions to various parts of the world, including Tibet, in search of a mythical underground city known as Shambhala. This search was driven by the belief that Shambhala held mystical powers and advanced ancient technology that could be harnessed to further Nazi ambitions. Additionally, they sought to find connections with the Aryan race, hoping to legitimize their racial theories and propaganda. In 1938 to 1939, an expedition led by SS officer Ernst Schaefer was sent to Tibet under the guise of scientific research. While the primary stated goals were anthropological and botanical studies, there was a covert mission to investigate the myths of Shambhala and uncover any potential ancient knowledge or artifacts that could aid the Nazi cause. In the summer of 1942, the German military launched Operation Edelweiss, a major offensive aimed at capturing the oil-rich regions of the Caucasus, particularly the Baku oil fields in Azerbaijan. Securing these resources was crucial for the German war effort, as oil was essential for fueling the Wehrmacht's operations. The offensive was part of a broader strategy to deprive the Soviet Union of its vital resources and to gain a strategic foothold in the region. Beyond the immediate military objectives, the Nazis harbored ideological interests in the Caucasus. The Nazi occult organizations and members of the Ahnenerbe believed that the region could hold clues to the origins of the Aryan race. They speculated that ancient Aryan civilizations have once thrived in the Caucasus, leaving behind traces of their advanced knowledge and culture, including vast underground cities. It appears that the Germans were very close to discovering the Khara-Hora underground shaft, as in very close proximity to the entrance of the shaft on top of the mountain, there was a swastika carved on a boulder by the Germans. Perhaps the swastika was left as an identification mark by the Nazi researchers who knew they were very close to discovering the underground city of the Aryans. What's even stranger was that a more ancient swastika carving was also found in the region one, which has nothing to do with the Germans. Could this swastika have been left by the advanced ancient civilization that constructed the Khara-Hora Shaft? Were the Nazis emulating these people with their swastika and ideology? This was how Arthur Zemikov finally discovered the underground complex, not with his knowledge as a speleologist, but with his research into the occult and ancient texts and legends from the region. In fact, he learned that in the North Caucasus, numerous ancient legends about vast underground cities and caves have been passed from generation to generation. Arthur Zemikov believed that his discovery of the Khara-Hora Shaft was just the beginning and that there were numerous more remarkable structures and underground cities and complexes hidden in the depths of the mountain. Strangely, just before launching further expeditions in search of these ancient sites, a mysterious tragedy ceased the research. In 2015, Arthur Zemikov was hit by a car, having reported on some important find the day before. But that's not all. Viktor Chernobrov, the founder and leader of the Kosmopoisk organization, who was accompanied by Jamikov in his own expedition to the Khara-Hora Shaft, also died just 2 years later of cancer. There were also 3 more people associated with the research who also died mysteriously. We can't say if all of these tragedies are just a coincidence or something much more. As of today, there is hardly any information on the Khara-Hora Shaft or any other expeditions or discoveries in the Caucasus region. The only thing we found were 2 albums from 2017 and 2018 by a man named Alexander Splashnov, who ventured into the region and even climbed inside the Khara-Hora Shaft. The photographs he made of the Khara-Hora Shaft are remarkable and showcase the geometrically precise shaft with polished walls and massive megalithic blocks. But that's not all that captured Splashnov's attention. He made numerous photos of interesting things he found in the region around the entrance of the Khara-Hora Shaft. Here is a photo of the famous swastika left by the Nazi Germans who were researching the area. And here he photographed an interesting stone which looks like it has machine marks on it. On this photo, Splashnov captured a stone formation that is almost entirely buried in soil and vegetation, yet looks like it could be part of a man-made structure long forgotten. It looks like the stone features precise cuts and flat surfaces that were artificially modified. And on this section of Khara-Hora it looks like there are massive stone blocks stacked together with everything below them being buried in the ground. Once again, we can see precise cuts with right angles and flat walls. Take a look at the strange forms of the stone that are still visible. Does this look like a natural formation or an artificially modified stone part of another megalithic structure? It appears the entire area of Khara-Hora is filled with stone blocks that look like they were precisely cut with some sort of machine and probably used for large construction endeavors. Just compare the perfectly flat and polished surface of the block below with the naturally eroded rock above. Could this have been an ancient quarry used by the same prehistoric civilization that built the Khara-Hora Shaft? Here we can clearly see precise machine marks on the surface of the rock, which were probably left after the extraction of the stone blocks. And look at the precision showcased in this photo where the rocks are joined perfectly together with almost no gap and exhibit these fascinating shapes. We haven't seen any natural formation that look anything like this. Alexander Splashnov photographed his entire journey entering the Khara-Hora Shaft, from the site's entrance to his descent down and all the way to the lowest sectors of the shaft. The photos are of remarkable quality and can be used for further research. The albums with all of the incredible photos captured by Alexander Splashnov were uploaded to his page at vk.com, which is a Russian Facebook alternative. We'll leave a link to the albums in the description below if you wish to examine them in more detail. The discovery of the Khara-Hora Shaft in the North Caucasus by Arthur Jamikov in 2011 has raised profound questions about the ancient human history and the technological capabilities lost in time. The intrigue surrounding the site continues to captivate those who ponder the abilities and knowledge of ancient civilizations. Some believe this is the ultimate proof of a technologically advanced prehistoric civilization, while others believe it is a natural formation. Like we already explained, many of the most active researchers of the site have died, and no news about it has been heard in recent years. The true origin and purpose of the Khara-Hora Shaft continues to remain a mystery. If one day it is proven to be the product of an advanced ancient civilization, the structure would be one of the largest megalithic sites on Earth.